I want to talk now about that Georgia Senate runoff between Democrat Raphael Warnock and Republican Herschel Walker. The early voter turnout has been breaking daily voting records. It's happened 3 times since polls opened last Monday. And if Senator Warnock defeats Walker, the Democrats will have 51 seats, an outright majority. Our congressional correspondent Rachel Scott is in Atlanta with the latest.
With just 24 hours to go, the final scramble to turn out every last vote.
We got to get out there and let them know we're sick and tired of this.
Former football star Herschel Walker taking on Democratic incumbent Senator Raphael Warnock in a contentious and critical race.
Elections are about a choice, and this election is about competence and character.
Warnock held a slight edge on Walker in the November election, but did not get more than 50% of the vote, triggering a runoff by state law. And voters are turning out like never before, smashing single-day records. 1.8 million ballots already cast, lines stretching to the parking lot. In the closing days, Walker has shied away from taking questions, his campaign clouded by controversy. Still, Republicans are determined to show a united front. Governor Brian Kemp easily won re-election. He was never seen with Walker on the campaign trail until now.
I'm backing Herschel, and I hope you'll join me in voting for him too.
And Warnock turning to former President Barack Obama once again to rally Democrats. But noticeably absent, President Biden, who has stayed away from Georgia altogether.
We have to win this election.
And Rachel Scott joins me now from Atlanta. Rachel, always good to see you. I know last month, when Democrats secured control of the Senate, there was some speculation that this runoff maybe wouldn't have the same enthusiasm, certainly not as much as we saw for the runoffs 2 years ago when the whole Senate hung in the balance. Why do we think the early voting numbers are so strong?
Yeah, well, part of this is these candidates have done a good job at really communicating to these voters that this is a race that matters. You're absolutely right, Trevor. Runoffs typically tend to have lower voter turnout. And then, again, this is one that is not going to decide control of the Senate. And so the arguments from these candidates had to be this is still an extremely important race where a lot is on the line here. So we have seen these early voting numbers really shatter records. We're talking about nearly 2 million people that have already cast a ballot in this state. On Friday, the last day of early voting, more than 350,000 people turned out, shattering single-day records. But at the same time here, so much of the focus has been on the state's voting laws because Democrats have largely criticized them. You had 17 days of early voting. That went down to only 5 days of early voting. And so now election officials say that people just had a short amount of time. They clearly went out, got in line, went out to vote. We know Democrats in this state tend to vote early, and we know Republicans tend to vote in person on Election Day, Trevor.
How about big picture, though, Rachel? I know the Democrats, they've already maintained control technically, but what would the 51 majority mean for them?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is going to be big for Democrats in the way that it's going to make their lives a whole lot easier if they're able to carve out a win here in Georgia. It's going to make things like legislating, confirming judges, even negotiating within their own party just a whole lot easier. You may remember us talking about Senator Joe Manchin, Kyrsten Sinema, 2 Democrats that have really upended a lot of the Democratic agenda just by saying that they didn't want to go forward with parts of President Biden's domestic agenda. That would all change, giving Democrats a little bit more breathing room. For Republicans, though, this would give them some clear momentum heading into 2024.
All right, Rachel Scott, thank you very much. Always good to see you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.